Hello. Today is Holy Thursday, and we begin the most important part of our Lenten journey that brings us to the Last Supper table of the Lord. Today, there will be no Mass celebrated at all, except at the cathedral in Lansing. There'll be a Mass of the Chrism, the blessing of the oils that are used in all the parishes over this coming year. But that's the only liturgy that occurs until this evening, when you and I gather around the table in our parish church and celebrate that Last Supper table and gather with the Lord and his disciples to commemorate his suffering and death and all that he has done for us. It's interesting that the gospel of tonight is not about the institution narrative. It doesn't tell us about how Jesus took the bread and said, "This is my body," or took the third cup, the cup of salvation, and said, "This is my blood." It tells us about Jesus who rose from the table and took off his outer garment and put on an apron and washed the feet of his disciples. You know, it was a real lesson. He said, "What I have done, so you must do." You know, that we're called to serve. And I think about a wedding that I had years ago. I loved it. They were a wonderful couple. And when they first came in to see me, they asked about the wedding. And I said, "Well, we'll talk about that. That's several months later, but we'll talk about that." They said, "Well, we'd like to know one thing, though, because we'd like to add something to the ceremony." And I said, "Okay, what are you talking about?" And they said, "We'd like to, before the vows, wash each other's feet." I don't think I responded right away. And I just looked at them and said, that would be wonderful. That whole idea of doing the Holy Thursday gesture as an ordinary event in their life, to begin their life together by recognizing that they've come to serve each other, to help each other grow, to help each other come to the fullness of what God intended them to be. It was a beautiful wedding. It was one of my favorites, actually, out of over 1,000. But it was a lesson to me again that somehow you and I are called to do that, not just once or twice in our lives, not just on Holy Thursday, but every day, to serve one another, to wash each other, to raise each other up, to make each other better by the way we love. In the end, isn't that what the Lord taught us most of all? Have a blessed Easter.